Welcome, our beloved viewers on Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for all. We are very happy to have you again in our program, Responsible Leadership, Responsible Citizenship, a program that is always brought to you from Uganda Catholic Secretariat in the Justice and Peace Department. And to present this program, my name is Dr. Kiiza Emmanuel Aliba, the National Executive Secretary of the Justice and Peace Department. Thank you for loving our Catholic television. Good news for everyone, good news for all. And we are very happy that you are keeping in touch with us. You are keeping viewing our programs, because this is how we are going to deepen our faith together. Faith is a journey. You don't move alone, we move together. So this program is specifically brought to you to ensure that we live our faith together, we move together, and we share on a number of topics that will continuously help us to be responsible citizens in society. We cannot live our faith in isolation. Our faith is meant to be seen. They will see the fruits and give glory to God. So our faith has to be manifested, has to be witnessed. So when we come with these programs for responsible citizenship, we are really sharing our faith with you, and would like that we move together so that this faith that we have deep within our hearts, we can express it in our daily lives, at home, in our areas of work, in our areas of leisure. So this is the whole purpose of this program of responsible leadership, responsible citizenship. The last time, last week I was here, we had started a journey moving with our Catholic bishops. Our Catholic bishops have written several letters, several of them, and we have decided that as Justice and Peace Department, we continuously share them with you, but would like you to get a copy by yourself. Because these programs, we can only give a snapshot. We can only give highlights. We cannot give everything. So I would like that we'll share with you these pastoral letters, because the bishops intended to communicate to us. Not only to all those people who were present when they were issuing these pastoral letters, but to the posterity, to us all, because we have to know the circumstances in which our bishops talked and their messages. Their message is still alive, is still active, is still, very fresh. So I would like to share these pastoral letters with you. The last time I was here, we shared the one pastoral letter by Archbishop Joseph Kiwanuka, the Archbishop of Rubaga, at that time, the church and state guiding principles. And we saw the background where the Archbishop wrote this letter, and now we are going to see the second letter, which actually is supposed to be the first letter when all the bishops are together, those who were there at that time. But because Archbishop of Rubaga at that time, when he issued that letter, we usually take it as the first of the letters of the Catholic bishops of Uganda. So this one now, I come with the second letter, which is shaping our national destiny. Shaping our national destiny. This letter was issued on the 3rd of October, 1962. Now, for you Ugandans who are of my age or even beyond, you know what 1962 means. And you know what October 1962 means for us. And this letter was issued on the 3rd of October 1962. So, in other words, this letter was issued 6 days before Uganda attained its independence. So you find out that the whole spirit in which the bishops talked was the spirit of jubilation, was the spirit of guidance, and was the spirit of feeling for Uganda and feeling for the future of Uganda. The bishops, this is one of the very important letters that you need to read by yourself. You need to download a copy and read it for yourself. It's not a very small letter. It has some more pages than other pastoral letters, but this is what was needed at that time. The bishops had to give guidance on how people should behave in a new independent Uganda. So they gave those principles, how our people should take the independence, the spirit of independence. Uganda was becoming a country. There was a lot of jubilation. When the flags were being, hoisted, the flag of Uganda raising, and there was a lot of joy. And so the bishop took this and said, few days before independence, we have to guide our people what living in an independent country is all about. I would like to, first of all, tell you those bishops who were there at that time. So this letter is signed by 5 bishops and 3 vicars general. The first bishop to sign was Archbishop Joseph Kiwanuka, the Archbishop of Rubaga. Then together with him, there was Bishop John Sesana of Gulu. Another one was Bishop John Griff, the Bishop of Tororo. Another was Bishop Angelo Tarantino, the Bishop of Arua. And another was Bishop Vincent Macaulay, the Bishop of Fort Portal. So those were the 5 bishops who were there at that time who signed this letter. Then they had also 3 vicars general who were together with them. There was Monsignor Peter Waswa, the Vicar General of Kampala. There was Monsignor Dominic Kiiza, the Vicar General of Masaka. And Monsignor George Laifaiva, Vicar General of Umbarara. So those were the bishops who at that time, and the Vicars General who issued this letter to the Ugandans as they were waiting to welcome a new baby born of a country, a new country born called the Republic of Uganda. Now, the real purpose for this letter is got from the words they concluded with. And those words, I want to read them as they are, because I find them very important. Because once I read them to you, you will be able to taste the joy they were writing this letter. You will taste also the spirit behind this letter. You will also feel the guidance that the bishops wanted to give to you. I read the words of the conclusion. The destiny of Uganda is in the hands of its own people. It will be a happy, prosperous destiny provided that the leaders and the people follow the right God-given path. We, your pastors, in this letter, set before you the consideration of the right path. We have set out before you your rights and duties as children of God and citizens of independent Uganda. It is our duty to make use of all the talents and blessings God has given us to develop our country. Independence does not mean that we set aside God's commandments. Independence does not mean freedom from taxes and work. In all of our languages, we have the proverb, God helps those who help themselves. It is only by hard work, much thought and prudence that we shall be able to maintain and develop the independence for which so many have worked and made many sacrifices. The bishops continue in their conclusion, let the Christian citizens then fulfill conscientiously their duties in private and public, and in public, in private, by keeping the commandments of God and his church, by good example and love of all men, in public, by taking part in public affairs and bringing to them the contribution of their thought and their work. Let their voices be heard in the government of their country, both at national and district level, and in the administration of public services such as schools and hospitals, in fact, all spheres of life. We want a good standard of living for our people. Freedom to go hungry, or to be unhealthy, or to live our lives in fear is no freedom. We want economic freedom, because without it, political freedom cannot exist and is empty. We want freedom in our personal lives, because freedom must find its true expression and at the level of the individual citizens. We want that freedom for all the citizens that virtue brings, because sin can only bring slavery. We want above all freedom to serve God, because his truth alone can make us truly free. Finally, may religion, justice, unity, peace be the pillars of independent Uganda. May God guide and bless independent Uganda, both its leaders and its people. Let the government and the people of Uganda be assured of our prayers to God to guide them in their independence. Floriet Uganda. So they conclude, they end their letter. Floriet Uganda. So they wished us a flourishing country, that Uganda, right from independence, should flourish. I think you have heard the voice of our bishops when Uganda was becoming independent. They wished to have a flourishing country, and so they laid down various teachings in this letter shaping our national destiny. They begin this letter with very beautiful words. And they say, a new glory will be added to the name of Uganda when on the 9th October 1962, the nation of Uganda will receive with great solemnity its independence. So they were very optimistic about the growth of Uganda, the development of Uganda, that Uganda is going to flourish. And indeed, God has been on our side. And we thank the bishops for having moved with the people right from before independence up to today. They have not left us alone. They have always moved with us. In difficult times, the bishops have been guiding us. Now, in this joy of independence, the bishops are guiding the people of Uganda on, on how to go over the new joy that Ugandans are going to experience at the time of independence. In this letter, the bishops stresses the dignity of the person, the dignity of a human being. They say, as we come together as an independent nation, we would like to feel that everyone matters. Everyone matters. Everyone has a dignity. Even those we see as vulnerable, God has made all of us in His and all His own likeness, in His own image. So in this letter, it's as we approach to living together as an independent Uganda, we should always consider the dignity of the person. They also, in the same letter, outlined the duties, the responsibilities and obligations of Ugandans towards the building of an independent Uganda. That Uganda now is coming into the hands of Ugandans. It is us to build this country. We have obligations, we have duties, we have responsibilities. We also have rights that we expect in this new Uganda. So all these, they outlined them for us. They also called upon us to have the law of charity and patriotism among ourselves, to love our nation, patriotism, to love our nation. This one, I've seen it. When I move in the countries outside Uganda, you will see the citizens there laboring so much to make you love their country so much. In every word they say, in everything they do for you, the gifts they give you, they make you love their country. I remember in Germany, when I visited Quedlinburg, and also the city of Leipzig, I got gifts. Then when someone was giving me the gift, was saying, how do you like this? Of course, the question prompts you to say it is beautiful. Because the question is, how do you like this? Do you like our country? You know, they labor to make you feel their country is beautiful. Sometimes here in Uganda, sometimes it is different, especially for the young ones, for the young people. Sometimes I see you laboring to show that our country is the worst. It's very surprising. God has given us a beautiful country, but we labor to show others that our country is the worst. It's like we are not appreciating the gift that God has given us. It's as if we are not appreciating. So the bishops wanted us to have a high spirit of patriotism, the love for our country. And we needed to inculcate this. Let's not go against what the bishops told us. They said we must inculcate into ourselves that gift of loving our country. Our country is beautiful. We have to love Uganda. We have to love our country. And also we make it loved by others. So I have just been in Kiiza Diocese. I liked the Kiiza Diocese was celebrating the International Day of Peace on the 21st of September. Is usually the International Day of Peace. So I was invited as one of the guests. I liked the powerful homily of our bishop, the Bishop of Mityana. The passion about the environment, the passion about, the passion about keeping our environment clean. It was so powerful. So the spirit of patriotism makes us not only love our country, but also care for our country. Our country is beautiful, but we have to continuously make it more beautiful. This is the spirit of patriotism. I would like us to stop here with the first session. We shall come back to complete this pastoral letter. Let's have a glass of water. Thank you for viewing Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for all. Welcome back from that short break. Before we went in for the break, we had started the second pastoral letter of the Catholic bishops of Uganda, and that is shaping our national destiny, which was issued slightly before the independence of Uganda. 6 days before the independence of Uganda. We saw the joy in which our bishops issued this letter, and also their intention. They wanted to give guidelines on how we should build together our national destiny. And before we left, our bishops had told us to love our country, to be patriotic citizens of the new Uganda. So one of those things that they stressed so much in this pastoral letter was the dignity of women, the dignity of our mothers. They gave guidelines on how the women should be treated in the new Uganda. For example, here let me read to you what they write to us. They say, the husband is the head of the family, but the wife has her rights and her human dignity. The better the woman is educated, the better her home will be. The better partner she will be for her husband, and the better she will be for her husband, and the better she will be to care for and educate her children. So the better the quality of the wife, the better the family, the better the children, the better the you know. So they wanted, like for us, I am a trustee of Uganda Girl Guides Association. In Uganda Guides Association, we aim at having girls of virtue and women of substance. That is what we talk about. Whenever we are forming the young girl guides, we tell them, we need you to be girls of virtue so that as you grow, you become women of substance. So the bishops were kind of telling us our women should be women of substance, women who are empowered, women who are valued in the family. You remember at that time our background was not very good. Like you see them, the bishops identifying the issue of dowry, excessive dowry. They said this should not happen in Uganda. They guided about the excessive dowry. They said dowry should be a thanksgiving, should be an expression of a loving heart of the husband to the family of the wife. But it should not be an extortion. Dowry should not be an extortion, where people now start fearing to get married because they have to pay a lot of money. So they guided us how the dowry should be. They also traced back the dignity of women in the Bible, in the scripture. They dealt so much on Proverbs 31, verse 10 to 30. A man who has found a vigorous wife has found a rare treasure. Content, not sorrow, she will bring him as long as life lasts. So they trust the dignity of the woman in the Bible and also in other social teaching of the church. The bishops also, in the same pastoral letter, Shaping Our Destiny, they talked about the equality of every human being in the new Uganda. Equality before the law. Even those we consider marginalized, we have to treat them as equal to us. Equality, you know, when we are providing services, we should not say these services should go to this region, and no, let's have a balanced view of the provision of these services, so that even people who are in far distant areas may benefit from our services. So that equality. And then the bishops stressed the issue of a family. They were very emphatic about Ugandans having good families. And I realize what the bishops talk about, to have a good family. You know, a good family is a real foundation of society. We are what we are largely because of the families where we come from. You can tell and say this person, you can tell the family where the person comes from by seeing the person, how he or she is acting. Because the family forms us. The family, you know, we are a product of a family. So when the bishops are stressing that Ugandans should live in good families, husbands should endeavor to create good families. Wives should endeavor to ensure that their families are good in terms of forming our children, in terms of having, you know, responsible Ugandans being, you know, formed right from the family. The bishops have something very important to tell to us. So as they are reminding us, as we are forming our destiny, as new Uganda, as an independent Uganda, we stress the issue of the family. They also said the family has its rights. You know, they needed stable families. You know, then in families, they stress the issue of family prayers, family rosary, and reading of the Bible together. My dear viewers, the issue of praying together is diminishing in families because we are busy. The husband is busy. The wife is busy. The children are busy. What is that business that is beyond coming together for a short while? We usually don't take more than 30 minutes, the prayers that we usually say. 30 minutes. In all our business, and you say, my business, I am busy, and so I have no 30 minutes for God. What is that business? What is that making you busy not to have 30 minutes allocated for God? Together, the bishops are saying family prayers, family rosary, reading of the Bible. Now, the next month is the month of the rosary. Let's try to have this rosary together. Yeah? The right to a family, duties of parents. And they're talking, our families should give the first education to our children. After the family, the bishops also give a teaching on Christian teachers. So independent Uganda inherits a wealth of devoted, loyal Christian teachers to whom the nation owes a debt of gratitude for their contribution to Uganda's progress towards independence. Let Uganda's future teachers preserve this Christian inheritance and increase it. So they really gave appreciation to all our teachers, very outstanding teachers who have been behind the development of Uganda up to independence. Then they also talk of, in a new independent Uganda, our children have the right to education. We have to educate our children. We must educate our children because their future is brighter when Uganda has got educated citizens. In the same pastoral letter, they also give us about states' rights and duty in education of the children. The state has a great duty to educate the children. And we are very happy as Uganda is developing. We have universal primary education, universal secondary education. What we need possible as teachers and parents to improve is the quality of this education, the quality of universal primary education and the quality of universal secondary education. So the right to educate the children. Also the parents, I think somewhere we went wrong when we had then the universal primary education, universal secondary education. Then we gave up on our children and said, these children, the state will look after them in universal primary education and universal secondary education. We cannot abandon the role of a parent. We can't abandon. This is what the bishops are saying. The parent, you are the first teacher. If it means packing for them some food, should the state also pack for them some food? If there is food to pack for them, a clean bag. You know, sometimes the child, yes, the government is paying the fees, but for us in Bunyoro, we say, nkwatiraho tibuba bwetueki. That when somebody has come to help you, does not take your position. You still have to remain with your position. The role of looking after the child, the primary person is the parent. Because these are our children. So those children who are in universal primary education and universal secondary education, we have an obligation as parents to ensure that those children attain quality education. So this is key. So the bishops talked about also the Catholic schools, how they should be governed in an independent Uganda. Then they also gave basing on what Archbishop Joseph Kiwanuka had given the church and state, the principles. They also brought some of those principles back to this new pastoral letter, our national destiny. You know, they really wanted to keep that message alive. The role of the church in the independent Uganda. What is the role? What should the church do? And what should the state do in the independent Uganda? And where is the intersection? For example, it said issues to do with spiritual matters, that is the realm of the church. Issues to do with temporal matters, that's the realm of the state. And issues to do with moral matters, that is the intersection between the church and the state. Because each one, the state and the church, we have all the same goal in issues to do with morality. So they gave a very rich teaching here, quoting a number of Catholic social teaching documents, quoting the Bible. So please, when you have time, have yourself a copy and read. Then they give also how our relationship should be with other religions. How should the Catholic be? How should we behave with other religions? With our brother Muslims, with other brother Protestants, with our brother other religions. How should our approach be in this independent state? And I think it is because of that approach that the faith started coming together through Uganda Joint Christian Council, through Interreligious Council of Uganda. So all that teaching is here. The bishops dealt with it in this. And also the bishops said when Uganda becomes independent, we should also as a church try to be as independent as possible in terms of development, in terms of projects, but also in terms of our very own clergy. They called upon families to be exemplary families where members of the clergy can come from, those who will serve us as Uganda, but also those who will serve in other countries as missionaries. So the bishops were very emphatic on this one, having good families so that we can have enough African clergy for ourselves, but also as missionaries for other countries. Because there are other countries where the priesthood, you know, the vocations are limited. But they said here in Uganda, as we look at independence, we should also look at the independence of the church itself, in terms of sustainability of the church and in terms of human resource for the church. Then the bishops now touched us as laymen and women in the new Uganda. So we shouldn't forget the role of being a true Catholic in the new Uganda. Our faith should form our conscience, and our conscience should push us to be good citizens, responsible citizens So there I find a very great foundation for this program, Responsible Citizenship, when they are talking about us as laymen. You know? Consequently, we have at times lost or have had only the lukewarm cooperation of individuals who should be among the leaders of the people and who should prepare themselves for such leadership. The remedy for this state of affairs is to make sure that the religious learning of cultivated individuals keeps pace with their secular learning. So, Catholics, good Catholics, responsible citizens. So they also, the bishops guided on the church as the foundation for morality, you know. So I can read here, the doctrine of a secular state, that is a state which declares it has no religion, is both wrong and impractical. Bishops are telling the politicians, those who may feel that Uganda, now that has become independent, doesn't need, they need a secular state, said, this doctrine is both wrong and impractical. In this, the state would become so imprisoned in its temporal factions that it would no longer concern itself with God or the spiritual good or even the spiritual needs of its citizens. You know, it becomes, the state can't do without religion. We both need each other. And they give very good guidance here. That it is not then enough to say that temporal matters are the affairs of the state, spiritual matters that of the church. This would establish an exactly defined frontier between the two powers. Such a point of view, however, is indefensible because the direct competence of the state extends to law, justice, and morality, insofar as these derive from natural law and from reason. Now, it is just here on this moral juridical plane that church and state meet. It is here that harmony is required. So, dear viewers, this is the church and state guiding principles. This is another letter that is built on the first one, and you will realize that whenever I come with a new pastoral letter, these letters build onto each other. You will see what Archbishop Joseph Kiwanuka talked about, the guiding principles, and now here the bishops in the new independent Uganda are carrying it forward and making it much stronger and much deeper so that our people in the new Uganda can easily have no excuse for not building our country to prosperity. The bishops, as they concluded, they said the destiny is in the hands of its own people. That sentence, the destiny of Uganda is in the hands of its people. And I think, members, if you see where we have come from since independence, I think the bishops, what they are saying is right. For example, where we have decided to destroy ourselves, we have destroyed ourselves. That is the destiny we chose. At certain moments, So let's be very truthful to ourselves. Whether we have lived what the bishops have taught us as Ugandans. If you asked me to judge, I'll say somewhere we have lived, but to another extent, we have failed to live by what the bishops taught us. Where we have been enemies to each other, we know the destiny, for the bishops are saying, the destiny of Uganda is in our hands. Where we have prospered, I think let's rejoice, because we can see a lot of progress. Since independence to where we are, there's a lot of progress which we must take within our hands and say we congratulate ourselves. That however much we have not lived 100% to what the bishops have taught us, we have had one stride, two big strides. This difference can be seen. I was not there at independence. My elder brothers and sisters were there. But when we sit to talk about how things were at that time and how things are at this time, I can see that we are living in a better Uganda than at that time of independence, in terms of education, in terms of development, in terms of, the quality of life. But I can also see, when I was still a young man, I could see the quality of life we were living is not the quality of life now my children are living. The quality of life has improved. It has gone a little bit higher than it was. Fellow viewers, I would like to stop here. I will come again with another pastoral letter of the bishops. So far, we have had 2, and when we come again, we shall do the 3rd one. We shall go chronologically until we have covered all these pastoral letters together. I am reading them as a person, as Dr. Aliba. The best way of reading them is for you to get a copy for yourself. When you get a copy, then you read for yourself, and you get a copy for yourself. Get a copy. So you read for yourself, and then it will be, you can download it from our website, the Uganda Episcopal Conference website. There are a number of these letters there. Those that have not gone there yet, they will go there. So please get a copy and read for yourself. But I am here to bring to you a topology, just to know what the bishop wrote and what the key messages that they gave us. Thank you for viewing Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for us. Keep loving us, keep viewing, and thank you for loving our program, Responsible Citizenship. Till we meet, keep viewing Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for all.